On tonight's stream, we're going to talk about solving Wisconsin's offense for 2025 because Moon has been thinking up to some things. And I think I might have his perfect solution in why Wisconsin Badgers will be more competitive in 2025 than people might think. We're also going to talk about the Sun Belt Conference and why I think there's a 2-year rule on every single program in the conference. We're going to talk about some elite freshmen, the top defensive lines in college football, and a whole bunch more on this jam-packed episode of World of College Football. Were you looking for your latest plug and everything that you need to know in the college football world? Well, look no further, my friend. This is the World of CFB. Let's get to it. Welcome to the show. It's your boy Moon back at it again. And today is a special one. We're super excited to have another episode here. We appreciate you watching and tuning in to all the content that we are putting out on the CFB Nation umbrella. It's a lot of different exciting things that's happening right now. And we want you to be a part of it. So special thank you. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to the host. Let's get into the show. Open your eyes and make sure that they are like glued, my friend, because the old guard is shaking. Do you feel that rumble underneath your seat right now? I know you watching the show and shake my hand. Thank you for showing up. But there's a little rumbling going on in college football, and it's not because of NIL. It's not because of schedule difficulties, conversations that they got going on in the college football playoff committee rooms. It's not because of that right now. It's because we got coaches that are trying to bring in freshmen that are like worth $2 million in NIL investments, and you bring in 18-year-olds that are the next wave, the new kids on the block that's trying to set the scene and set the world ablaze. Just look at what we did last year. Cam Coleman went crazy. Ryan Williams went crazy. And most importantly, Jeremiah Smith went crazy too. He did whatever he wanted at Ohio State. Ryan Williams made vets look like they shouldn't even be on the field. DJ Lagway nearly carried Florida all the way to the very end. But 2025 is going to be even louder. 2025 is going to be special. So let's get into some names that are lighting up the stage right now in this wonderful world of college football. You know that guy, right? He's the franchise reboot that we have at Michigan, quarterback of the future, Michigan's quarterback of right now. At least we hope so, because they just brought in Jake Garcia from ECU. They already got Mikey King. But let's talk about Bryce real quick. Bryce flipped from LSU. So he put all the money on the line and said, you know what? We're going to get $2 million. We're going to get on the cover of EA Sports College Football. And we're going to do this before we even throw a pass. This is amazing, the landscape that we're in the college football world. You don't buy the deluxe edition if you're planning to redshirt. He's coming in to play. And I look at him being an impact freshman. He's built like a statue, 6'4", 208, and he moves like a glitch. He makes throws that sometimes in high school that make you scratch your head. Say, what kind of dude is this? He got the cheat codes, as I would like to say. But, you know, if I had to give a comparison to anyone, he reminds me a little bit of Vince Young. And I don't want to say that prematurely, but, you know, he might be even better, in my opinion. And my gut is saying that they brought in Mikey King as a veteran, but also to have insurance, and also allow him to be the warm-up act. The show, though, belongs to Bryce Underwood for right now and the foreseeable future. And I feel like everybody in Ann Arbor knows it, man. Bump everybody else and what they got to talk about. But I feel like everybody in Ann Arbor knows that this kid that's smiling so bright. I mean, he has a radiant energy about him. You can't mistake it. When you see him in interviews, you see the way he handles himself, you can tell that the young man is built for the moment. I feel like he's going to own that moment in 2025. Will it be some adjustments? Absolutely. It's going to be adjustments. This is college football that we're talking about. But Can he answer the call? Better bet your bottom dollar he can. Let's talk about the next guy, Malik Washington, quarterback from Maryland. He is a homegrown hero, but a homegrown hijacker because they didn't need to dip into the portal for a quarterback. I know Billy Edwards left, but they already had their answer. Born and bred in their backyard, ready to rumble. Malik Washington didn't just have a strong spring. He looked like the only quarterback who mattered in College Park. And to be honest with you, it was a joy to watch. And you know how a lot of quarterbacks may start their careers off overlooked and not getting that love. I feel like by the time we get to October, he's going to be QB1 for Maryland. And I feel like he's going to be the reason why Mike Locksley keeps his job. We talked about it with Billy Napier last year. DJ Lagway saved Billy Napier's job. Yup, I think that Malik Washington can save Mike Locksley's job, and Maryland's schedule will not be kind by any stretch of the imagination. But Washington isn't asking for mercy. He's coming to make some noise, and I feel like he's gonna do it in a major way in 2025. This kid, Decorian Moore, the smoothest killer in this class. When he's out there on the football field, it really does feel like a sight to behold. He floats on the field. He evaporates defenders. He erases them out of the equation. He does it with such glare, such finesse, such bravado that it just sticks out. And he has Olympic track speed, 145 catches with 2,900 yards in high school out of Duncanville. This dude is a gem right before our eyes. We all got a chance to see him in his growth. I'm looking for the emergence of him, but make no mistake, I tried to tell y'all before. Oregon has some wide receivers that can answer the call. He's one of them. The first two targets in the Duck Spring game went to him. Was that a coincidence, Mo? No, it wasn't. It was Oregon trying to say to you that we know. Everybody knows. Oregon knows. Future wide receiver one right there. Clemson fans, stand up because let's keep it real. Clemson's backfield after Phil Maffa, Will Shipley, it was starting to look a little dry. The cupboard was starting to look a little dry, but their leading rusher had 295 yards coming into the season until you enter this kid into the mix. Gideon Davidson, he has that track star burst. He runs through contact like an absolute sledgehammer, and he averaged 10.5 yards per carry in high school. Dabo said he's a natural when he's on the field. When he is on the field, he might as well be a fire alarm for ACC defenses like, wee, get off the field. You might as well put in the backups. I really do think that Clemson found their answer in the running back room, and 2025 can't get closer if you're a Clemson Tigers fan. Let's move on and stay in the ACC and talk about Javen Boggs, wide receiver, Florida State, who I like to deem as a slot surgeon because they say he's not the quote unquote fastest, but the way I see him move on film looks like he understands exactly where to be. He put up 2,100 plus yards, 24 touchdowns in Florida high school ball, so he's a dog. And you know that corners don't just grow on trees out there. I look at him as a slot surgeon. He's gonna come in and go crazy. 6'1", 204, cuts like a razor, zero wasted motion whatsoever. And FSU staff, they can't stop talking about this kid and how ready he is, how he's ready to step up to the call, and expect to see him on the field, getting a lot of snaps early. And I think that he can have the potential to eat safeties alive just by the way that he moves on the field and understands the game of football. You could tell that Javon Boggs loves football. And if you're a Florida State fan, he's a guy that you can look at and say, oh, man, we got some hope coming in this year, man. It ain't the same old days of 2024. Let's keep it pushing and stay in the state of Florida. But this time we move to the other conference. Dallas Wilson, wide receiver. The spring game smoke show that got busy, 10 catches, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a declaration flag plant into the middle of the field and saying, I'm a top 50 recruit coming in, and I'm already leapfrogging older receivers. DJ Lagway is starting to become my best friend, and I'm his favorite target. It's not Start Event that just came in. It ain't even Eugene Wilson. Not no more. I'm that kid. I'm that guy. That's what he's saying. Dallas Wilson is like that. I'm just letting you know before the season gets started. You should pay attention to what the Florida Gators got popping. And DJ Lagway has some talent and some pieces around him. If his offensive line is chef's kiss. Let's keep it pushing and stay in the other conference to talk about the SEC. David Sanders, offensive tackle from Tennessee. He's going to be a part of the new wall that they're building in Knoxville. Tennessee finally has a left tackle. Congratulations, Tennessee. But the right side, David Sanders, he going to be carving his name into the history books. 20 pounds that he gained by the end of spring camp. He took the call serious, Moan. Beep, 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 beep. Hello? Hey, David, can you put in 20 extra pounds? Yeah, I got you. Larry Johnson hit the portal. The Vols didn't panic. There was another guy that hit the portal, and they kind of did panic. But they didn't panic in this position because they said, hey, guy, listen, you're up. It's time for you to answer the call. And that's exactly what he did. He's not here to sit on anybody's bench. He's here to put edge rushers into the turf. He's here to make sure that the Vols stay upright in pass protection, no matter who their quarterback is for 2025. Year of our Lord. Let's keep it pushing. Jakeem! I'm a fanboy over Jakeem, man. Because he's the freak that you can't miss, man. We talking about him late night, man. You can't talk about him like that. Listen, he just reclassified, just turned 18 years old, already 6'5", 290 pounds, and he's already making grown man quit practice. So I'm looking at him as an impact freshman that USC defensive coordinator Deontay Lynn was shocked, blown away by this kid's strength, his command. He calls Stewart rare. Using that word, you can't use it all the time. And I don't think that he was making just pulling one out his tail. He was basically saying in translation, in layman's terms, USC has their next All-American, and he hasn't even finished unpacking yet and getting comfortable. This kid is going to be chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Let's keep it pushing. Georgia Bulldogs. Elijah Griffin, defensive tackle. Even though he could play more positions on the defensive line because he's the crown jewel, Kirby Smart just likes to collect five-star players like trophies. It's just he's showing them off. And at this point, Elijah Griffin, he's probably one of the most prized possessions of them all of the recruiting class. He's going to get to it. He's been starting to get comparisons to Jalen Carter. And I feel like that is kind of unfair because you want him to be his own person. But, like, look at this defensive line as a whole. Christian Miller, Xavier McLeod. Don't be surprised if he becomes one of the feature faces in this defensive line coming soon at Athens, and they're going to fall in love with this kid. His motor is – it just keeps going up. Every single time it keeps going up. Speaking of going up in the depth chart is Amari Adams, defensive tackle from Clemson. The undeniable force and the undeniable thing that I need to understand from Jump Street. Dabo says that this kid's going to help him in March, in June, in December. He's already into the mix. 6'4", 285 pounds. He wrecked shop his entire time in high school and the All-American Bowl. Now he's on deck to be backing up probably arguably one of the best defensive linemen in the country in Peter Woods. He's coming in to back up Peter. There is no shame in that. You're going to get all the types of experience, and hopefully the way defensive line and Coach Allen likes to play, they're going to be rotating bodies in. I look at Amari Adams going to get a lot of work as the season progresses. You know Clemson, they like to start off a little slow, and then as the season goes on, they add more reps. Perfect example, look at Sammy Brown in the middle linebacker room just last year. Perfect example. Started little shaky, said, all right, we're going to keep adding reps as the weeks go on. I look at that same thing with Clemson and what they're going to be doing with Amari Adams. Peter Woods, going to be nasty work. DJ Pickett, cornerback out of LSU. It could be the next great lockdown corner in Baton Rouge because you don't see many 6'4", 190-pound corners that can move like he can and have the ball tracking skills, understand that he's a prototype type of player. LSU needs that exactly. They need his skill set on the edge, and they have a history of trusting freshmen to come in and play right away at LSU. There's a lineage of just corners that have come in and changed the game. He can do exactly that. LSU's secondary was shaky last year. I don't feel like he can be the antidote and just cure everything, but I think that the only thing that's separating him from being CB1 lockdown numero uno is time. And I feel like that clock is ticking fast. We're going to see early tests when you get a chance to play Clemson early on, and you get a chance to play Tyler Brown, you get a chance to play Antonio Williams, Brian Wesco. Huge test right out of the gate. Let's keep it pushing. OH, IO, CB, the Buckeye battery charger that plays like he got a battery pack inside. He's not starting, not yet, but Devin Sanchez is next up. Ohio State already has corners ready with Igbenogson and the rest of them boys. But Sanchez, he's their latest cheat code addition to their team. Has smooth hips, elite ball skills. He got the size that you would want for a Sunday prospect. And at the end of the day, he's going to be on the field. He's going to find a way to be on the field, especially when it ends up mattering the most. Some other prospects that I looked at and I said for this year, outside of Malik and Bryce Underwood, you got Dalen McCutcheon, wide receiver that already jumped 3 top 50 wide receivers in practice out of Texas. Justice Terry, defensive lineman. He's going to be the long-term interior plug fix that Texas needs. And he can sneak into the edge consideration early in the mix. Penn State, they got Darius Dixon, a cornerback with big time frame, modern day polish, and that sauce to him. You got two cornerbacks, and that room is starting to look a lot. It just looks a lot different and way more beautiful, I should say. Kobe Howard, wide receiver, spring game. He got a lot of hype. He a slot ninja. And Lyric Samuel, wide receiver, was a spring game MVP for Penn State. Don't forget that name. He's going to be important. Notre Dame, Elijah Burris, wide receiver, and Madden Faramio, linebacker, are both steady risers that I've been paying attention to. They're going to be creeping up the depth charts. Creed Thomas and Dallas Golden, they're going to be some cornerbacks that's going to come in, be physical, twitchy. And I think Notre Dame's future DB stars in that room. That's what we're going to look at. Alabama, Michael Carroll on the offensive line. He's going to add value to that interior offensive line room, especially when you know they need it. Dejon Lee from cornerback room. He might be cornerback 3 by August and just pushing everybody to the limit. And that's not a small feat, especially in Tuscaloosa. They out there balling. So no matter where you look, this class, it's already here. It's no more that it's coming. No, they already here. It's an entire battalion of freshmen who didn't just come to watch and sit on the bench. They came to be on your television screen. So by the time that you're looking at these kids later in the fall, you're going to be like, whoa, I know him. His face looks familiar. And I'll be like, yep, that's the same kid that balled out at Mater Day. That's the same kid that got it popping at Duncanville. We try to put y'all on and let you know because these kids want the keys to their respective offenses, defenses, or offensive line, whatever position that you play. They came here to flip the script. And on the world of college football, that's what we like to do. Flip the script.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. BetUS, get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. You know, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7, but there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. Bet US has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Go get that money, twin. We appreciate Bet US, and we are super excited for all of the other amazing thing that's happened in CFB Nation. Shake my hand. We appreciate you being here. I know it's a late night sometimes. It's kind of early on the West Coast, but we got to give you this content in college football. Never sleeps. I'm your boy Moon, credential media member of DCFB Nation, and this show is all about the world of college football in the entire ecosystem as we know it. My job is just to shine a spotlight on every single corner so that there's no shadows. I understand my studio might have shadows in it and everything, but in the college football world, we don't want any. And lurking in the shadows, and one of the major announcements that happened and that's been developing, if you've been paying attention, has been this realignment talk, specifically out of the Pac-12, because we've been saying and asking to ourselves, like, what is the Pac-12 up to, and what are they going to do? And in a way that they normally get it popping, different than the rest of us. No formal press releases, no breaking news graphics. All you get is a picture of two beavers drifting down the San Marcos River and a repost from the president of Texas State. That's how college football realignment works in 2025. When you don't get press conferences, you don't get cryptic Instagram stories, and you don't get emoji breadcrumbs and trails that you got to find. Nah, in this sport, everything that is done, nothing is official until it's signed, and nothing's quiet until it's posted. And when Texas State President Kelly Damphouse reposted a meme about the beavers traveling down the San Marcos River, a nod to Oregon State's Pac-12 program, it just stirred my curiosity. It's kind of set the stage for a little bit of things just brewing underneath the surface in the Pac-12, because now those whispers are louder than ever, and Texas State is poised to join the Pac-12 right now as we speak. It's crazy right now that what we're getting. I'm your boy Moon. This is the world of college football, and this move, it could shake the lower tier of college football like an aftershock. This is head coach GJ Kinney. By the time that we get to the end of the 2025 season, he might be forced with the dilemma that he didn't anticipate when he took this job a couple of seasons ago, 3 years to be exact. He wouldn't have anticipated that Texas State would be in talks with the Pac-12 to expand. You're getting P4 offers coming now because we're anticipating Texas State to be good in 2025. He's going to get some offers and some jobs coming on. So we're looking at it, and he now has a dilemma. Do we take the job and go to a big P4 job, or do we ride this wave with expansion with the Pac-12? This is a mystery that Moon is trying to uncover. But let's make one thing clear, abundantly clear, so everybody can just know this isn't just about vibes or potential. It's about timing. And Teresa Gould knows how to strike at the perfect time. Texas State is blooming right now. Everything is booming. They got over 40,000 students, a rising football program brand under GJ Kinney, a location that's smack in the recruiting heartland of Central Texas. They turned down the Mountain West Feeler last fall. That wasn't on accident. That was leverage so they can keep all their cards in the back pocket. Now they're the top target for the Pac-12 conference, and that needs an A football team by 2026 in order for them to actually get it popping in football and maintain FBS status. That deadline, the clock is ticking down. It's coming faster than people realize, and so is another deadline. On July the 1st, Texas State's exit fee from the Sun Belt doubles from $5 million to $10 million. Translation to you, if money talks, a move is coming, and it's coming very soon, bro. And the Pac-12 absolutely knows it. So some sources are saying that Texas State is expected to receive a formal offer before that date even comes, barring any sudden change in direction. But the league presidents are reportedly on board with this whole entire experience, and they are blown away, enamored with Damphouse's leadership, how he's been answering the call. We've been talking about that on this episode. the school, their enrollment scale is going up, and Central Texas's footprint is increasing. You look at that, but where's he at? That guy. You look at that guy. He just keeps winning, being a baller, shot caller. Then be like, hey, GJ, you trying to be the next charge in the league's presidents? Them being on board? Oh man. That has Teresa Gold absolutely just salivating. Here's the Pac-12 situation right now because it's survival by necessity. And we don't want to sugarcoat it with you, audience, because we love you. We appreciate you watching, taking your time out here on this late night. Sometimes it maybe is later some places else, but the Pac-12, it's not the shiny brand that it once was. We understand that. Oregon and Washington, they gone. They said, all right, bro, we leaving. USC and UCLA did the same thing for Big Ten money. The league is in a situation where it can feel like a patchwork. And hanging on with Oregon State, Washington State, a few Mountain West imports that we bring in. Gonzaga, just bring them in for basketball credibility. But if the league is going to exist at all, it's going to have a football season in 2026. It needs 8 playing members, 8 schools enter into this situation. Texas State positioned perfectly, willing to move, ready to upgrade, ready to do whatever it takes. There's a reason why the Pac-12 didn't offer a media share, cup of soup, cup of ramen noodles, as Dan Powell's hinted on social media, saying that back in April, he was aiming for the full bowl. He wanted a big bowl of ramen noodles. And he earned it. He got it. Gonzaga got full media rights as a basketball-only member. Washington and Texas State demand the same thing to the Pac-12 and Teresa. She gonna be listening though, but sometimes it's not all just about them. We gotta look at the other dominoes because who moves next if Texas State goes? Once the Pac-12 makes it official and the Sun Belt is now put in this position, what do they do? I've been hearing some people say, yo, Moon, you should just go and look at Western Kentucky. It's already picking up natural rivalries. Take them from the take them from the Conference USA, bring them over to the Sun Belt. Like match made in heaven. Big Red would love being in the Sun Belt Conference with Pounce and and the Georgia Southern and all the other rivalries that they have. But you see, deeper than that, the Sun Belt, they want rivalries. They want drivable games. They want tradition-rich programs with strong Olympic sports, especially where we are right now in the current revenue-sharing model. And Louisiana Tech right now, from what I'm hearing, is the front runner to replace Texas State. I like the move, the other move better than what you said, Western Kentucky. I like Western Kentucky's move better than Louisiana Tech. But if Louisiana Tech bolts, then that ripple hits the Conference USA, a league that just expanded and brought in Delaware, Missouri State. They've been importing a lot of members into right now. Could we possibly get an option of Tarleton State entering into Conference USA mix? The rising Texas institution that has poured in so many resources into athletics. They have openly postured themselves for big FBS inclusion into the mix. If there's an opening in the Conference USA, I feel like Tarleton is in a perfect situation to just wave off all the smoke and be like, nah, this isn't smoke and mirrors. Like, we are ready to insert ourselves into the conversation. And then you enter in this school that's on your screen, Memphis, the biggest piece really one of the biggest pieces on the board that hasn't moved yet. They got elite basketball tradition. They got 11 straight years of bowl football, a city the city footprint that's really in the heart of everything, and it's going to be prime for markets as far as television. They got private backing from the people up top that's willing to cut checks. So you look at that and you say Memphis is actually a really cool piece in this puzzle. And where do they land right now? But here's the catch: the Power Four, they aren't biting on all of this smoke right now, at least not yet. And the Tigers are now exploring some hybrid models like football only Pac-12 membership, for example, with the Olympic sports joining the Big East. Think of it like being an independent contractor with 2 different conferences. That's an idea that's been floating around. Why would Memphis even consider this though, Moon? because the AAC is in a situation where they made $11 million total last year. The projected new Pac 12 media payout deal for full members in 2026 may come in just under that mark, the way they pushing for this money. So you talk about for football only status paired with Big East basketball revenue, probably maybe like what 7 million annually that we'll get from that. Memphis, you could build something unique. It can be a unique financial portfolio that we see. But the earliest that any of this would happen would be 2027, maybe 2028. But I feel like the writing is on the wall, and you see other schools has already did it and jumped, like the NIU Huskies that said we gonna go to the Mountain West because the Mountain West is now impacted by this fog. Because it's not just about Texas State. It's about buyouts, lawsuits, and the future of Pac 12's media deal that we see right now. Currently, the league is embroiled in meditation and mediation with the Mountain West trying to come together so we all can be on the same accord. It's over 55 to 70 million dollars in poaching penalties tied to previous expansions. All of these legal issues and things that we see, all of this is going to be taken to federal court. You got to know this. But at the same time, the Pac 12 has inked a temporary football TV agreement with CBS, ESPN, the CW, but those deals in 2025 aren't binding beyond next year. So they got the room to talk to whoever they want to right now. And what they need right now is a real media rights home, a partner that's going to work with them, a partner that's going to help build the Pac 12 rather than just bandage it, allow it to grow and blossom because it really has the chance to do that. And early projections are showing what $10 million per school. I can understand it's still better than staying in the Mountain West for some of the few members that we had. It's not ideal because it's survival what we got right now in the group of five. But Texas State is in a situation where at the bottom line, a Sunbelt school that's positioned to leap into a rebranded Power Five, quote unquote, remnant, a coach like this guy, GJ Kinney, that's on a rise, selling fast, creating a fun product that's on the field, making them more marketable in a pipeline in that area of Texas that's continuing to grow. In a school that said no to the Mountain West and they said yes to us playing the long game. But now, just like I said earlier in the show, the clock is ticking. July 1st is the number to remember. If the Pac 12 makes its move like I'm anticipating it is, the realignment machine kicks into overdrive from San Marcos to Ruston, Louisiana, to Bowling Green, Ohio, to Stephenville. It's going to get spicy really fast. So keep an eye on the Beavers and make sure you watch. Pay attention to the river because the next wave is already moving. This is the world of CFB. Let's get it. Welcome to another show. We appreciate you being up with us, tuning in. It's always a great time to talk college football. Appreciate you, Al. Man said, keep grinding, bro. Go Bucks. I appreciate you so much, Al. Thank you for watching the show. Thank y'all for watching. So today's show, we've already covered multiple topics, including Pac-12 expansion. We talked about some elite freshmen that's going crazy for next season in 2025. I'm fully expecting them to go crazy. And then now we're about to shift gears and skip the commercial break and keep everything moving in our favor. This is the world of college football, and we have to talk about some trench titans, some trench dogs that's coming in 2025 that are really built to break your offense. I mean, snap them like a twig, make your offensive line crumble. I'm talking about the big dogs. If you want to know who wins college football games before they even begin, walk past the 50-yard line and listen to the dirt talk. Because at the end of the day, these 10 defensive line units, 11 really, if I'm giving my honorable mention, they aren't just talent factories, people. They are move setters. Think of them like your playlist. Some playlists might be like NLE Chopper. Some players might be like Kirk Franklin, but it make you want to stomp for real. But at the end of the day, they are move setters and they are dripping with NFL upside, like the guy that you see on my screen. Others are powered by portal mercenaries ready to just snipe, homegrown wolves ready to just attack, raised to hunt, to go crazy because they were born in the dark. Together, they form the most terrifying wave of frontline pressure that a man could dream of. A man like me. This is the world of college football, and these are some of the defensive lines that I am absolutely expecting to go crazy in 2025. Let's start first with let's just talk about it. Clemson, these are the monsters that you cannot block. At Clemson, it's not about rebuilding. It's about doing it their way and reloading. 2025's front line is loaded from top to bottom, loaded like a cannon, ready to bounce off, and Death Valley is going to be popping this year. Peter Woods is a man on a mission. Peter Woods is able to move from defensive tackle to defensive end, edge. You put him in 3 technique, 5, put him nose up. What you want to do? He might be one of the best run defenders in the sport of college football. He's an absolute technician, a grown man that got that power, grown man string. He's a winner. All he did was win in high school. Just look it up. All he did was win. Now he's winning at Clemson. He's going to be resetting pockets, continuing to win. He's going to be hitting that control plus Z and just deleting people. Delete, get them out of the mix. TJ Parker, he's coming in on the other side, and he's the next Tigers that's going to get a lot of recognition going to the league, too. He's already built like a 10-year vet, and he's going to go crazy this year. TJ Parker, Peter Woods, the guy I talked about earlier, Amari Adams, they're going to have a mammoth of a line. Entering Will Help, who came in from Purdue, who's a Big Ten bruiser. He going to add some rotational veteran leadership into it. You add in Cade Denhoff, Jaheim Lawson, 5-star freshman, Amari Adams, like I told you about. And this unit can just smother you and squeeze you and squeeze you. This is probably the best defensive line in college football, all jokes aside. They are like that. Let's talk about the next guys. And I'm not going in order of ranking. I'm just mentioning them as they come to my mind and in my notes. Alabama, enter in the conversation. That guy is LT Overton. They also have Tim Keenan III, who turned down the NFL and said, we're going to run it back with Kalen DeBoer. Alabama, roll tide, roll, baby. Overton, LT, that is the prototype type of guy. 6'5", twitchy, got muscles. Looks like he got that torque. He's been working on his torque. Kalen DeBoer has elevated him in the system. And Keenan, he's coming in. He's probably one of the nastiest trench players in the SEC. A lot of offensive linemen second guess themselves when Tim Keenan get on the field because he's a run plugger. He gonna come in with that real pass rush juice that you need. He got top 3 numbers in almost every single interior metric that you can find. Yeah, he's like that. Behind him is chaos ready depth, like we look at with this Alabama team. They got Latham, Jamarion Latham, Quad Rissaw, and James Smith that's coming in behind them boys. And they're going to be able to rotate. And anytime the engine starts cooling down, nope. All gas, no brakes yet again. Alabama's going to be mean, motivated, returning with a purpose. And I would be nervous to play them boys. 100%. Roll, tide, roll, baby. Coming up next, Texas Tech. They raided the portal 100%. And they added some juice on that pass rush. You can't buy chemistry, though. And Texas Tech, they said, you know what? We can get damn close. Every starter is hit from the portal, bro. Every one of them produced somewhere else. And we look at this and we see this collection of talent and group together. They're probably one of the most fearsome mercenary units that we all got. Like the Avengers in college football. The other guys that nobody wants to talk about, but Lee Hunter came from UCF by way of Orlando in the bounce house, and he is a living wrecking ball on the inside. Man can go crazy. David Bailey came from Stanford, and he's back as a sack artist that's going to have that pro level bend that you want when he's on the edge. Romello Height, I watched Romello a lot at Georgia Tech last year. He got that twitch that you would want off the edge that is SEC caliber. I'm looking at Sky Gill Howard from NIU, quiet killer with some elite bursts. Group of Five production is elite too. Anthony Holmes Jr. came from Houston. He's gonna give him that pop, that nastiness in the trenches that they want, and they've been wanting for years. This unit feels like it was built in the lab, but it's full of mercenaries, transfer portals that this guy on the screen got busy with. Joey McGuire said, "Hey, we can get active. Florida Gators, baby, Florida Gators." They got some stars, some real ones. Tyreek Sapp, a first rounder in the making, make no mistake about it. Relentless off the edge. 90.4 pass rush grade last year. Caleb Banks is returning, who's a pressure machine, who lives in the backfield, and it still feels like he's scratching the surface of what he could be in this offense. Waiting in the wings for them is LT McGray, and he's coming in as a 5-star freight train for this team, and he could be the best defensive tackle in the SEC before Halloween. I know it's scary to think about, but it's a real possibility. If this back end at Florida holds up their end of the bargain, this defensive line in the SEC at Florida could surprise some teams and make it very uncomfortable coming into the swamp. It will be like a nightmare, especially with this guy on the screen. Let's move all the way out to Michigan. Michigan is reloading in a situation where they sent two defensive tackles to the NFL last year, both of them in the top 15. And you would think that if that was any other team in college football for real, especially in the G5, you lose two players like that, send them to the league. Oh, yeah, you're definitely bound for a drop off at some point in your tender. But Michigan isn't most teams. Michigan bounces back, and they got Rashawn Benny, who is going to step up with some real Sunday potential. And I would not be surprised if his name is in consideration high in the NFL draft next year. He's going to have all the spotlight and the pressure right there for you, trying to man up the middle for the defensive line. Derek Moore is also going to be coming back. He got a pass rush win rate that was better than nearly every edge in the country last year. That was Derek Moore. TJ Guy, he was just going to return with that classic Wolverine physicality that we know and love. If you're out there in Ann Arbor, we know and love it. And this front is quietly as nasty as last year's front was. And I got the star power like we see, with the guys that went to the league. Respect. You did your thing. But they just a little bit younger and maybe just a little bit more angry because of what they had to endure last year. Coming up next, Dogs. Let's talk about it. The Georgia Bulldogs. Christian Miller. He's gonna be a bell cow, getting a lot of snaps this year. Violent, efficient, top 5 defensive tackle potential. Around him, he got 5-star bulldozers, just absolutely ready to go crazy. Jordan Hall, Joseph Ajonie, and Elijah Griffin, who's on your screen, who's going to come in with this Isaiah Gibson. And I feel like all of them are ready to break out in 2025. Don't sleep on their transfer that just came in for Army, Elo Mendoza. Georgia, if they continue to let this defensive line cook, I really feel like they're going to have themselves an amazing year on the defensive line for the Bulldogs. Miami. Ruben Bain Jr. is just a menace, and I don't know how to put it to you in another way. There's no other way to really put it. Miami fans, you've been watching this kid grow right in front of your eyes into an absolute grown man. You watch his film and you see when he's healthy, you see, oh my gosh, he's unblockable. You look at him, the way he destroys offensive linemen, the way he sheds blocks, the way he constantly lives in the backfield, tackles for losses. You see the sack, you see the smile, it's infectious. You see the energy, and you ask anybody in Miami, this kid is the one that stays after everybody else leaves. He is the guy that is always in the weight room, always in the film room, always studying to try to get his craft better. He makes up a defensive line that's going to be nasty at Miami. And one of the bright spots of the Miami's roster, he's third among returning power 4 edge defenders and pressures since 2023, and he's only getting better. Beside him is Akeem Mesidor, and he's a forgotten weapon because he had elite efficiency last year. Ahmad Moten is on the rise. Justin Scott, freshman coming in, on the rise. And this unit for Miami is primed to be better. Primed to probably be the best in a mighty long time that we've seen out of Miami's defensive line. 100%. Let's go out there to Norman, Oklahoma. Norman, Stormin, Norman. All right, all jokes aside, this kid is called, his name is Grayson Halton. Looking at his stats was amazing. I was like, oh my God. He's probably one of the most slept on defensive tackles in the entire college football. Explosive off the snap. He goes and nearly unblockable when he gets the leverage on you, put that arm up on you. Come on, you can't keep up with Grayson. The edge rusher, Mason Thomas, man, technician. Watching his film was a pleasure earlier today. And then you look at his passer's grade, he's filthy, especially on passing downs. Dominic Williams is steady. Marvin Jones Jr. is transferred in, and he's going to bring some pedigree for OU. And then you got Adebaware, David Stone. Both of them are former top 10 recruits for Oklahoma. Both of them are built for Sunday. And I know my boy Boom loves them kids. Brent Venables, I'm not sleeping on him. This man, they're gonna keep that room hot this year. And if you want to bet on any group taking a monumental jump, Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, man, because they are going to work this year. Texas, Colin Simmons is that dude. Let's just start there. Statement one. Statement two, he was a 5-star freak at Duncanville. Number three, he's now the number one returning edge defender in college football. That right there is what you need to know about Colin Simmons. Now, the rest of the cast for Texas absolutely matters. They got Cole Brevard coming from Purdue. Travis Shaw came in from UNC. He's going to bring some beef in the middle. He's going to add some size. And then you talk about Ethan Burke, who's going to come in as that old school, prototypical type of edge that you would want. As far as his presence, golden. Hear great stories about Ethan Burke and how great of a teammate that he is. Freshmen, they got two of them. That's Justice Terry, Lance Jackson. They're going to be the next wave on this defensive line. And yeah, they're scary. No lie. They got some talent. But that guy, Colin Simmons, absolute animal, man. Then you got Mateo Uiagalelei. He's a future first rounder. Oregon is really on the cusp of this as well too. They're gonna keep going crazy, and they went active in the portal. And I know we're gonna get some jokes, and people gonna talk about some jokes, but they got Bear Alexander in the portal. He gonna add some upgrade to their interior office defensive line. Amari Washington is coming back, and he's underrated. Oregon might not be like creme de la creme at the top, like we saw like Alabama, LT Overton, or Clemson, or whatever. But if they got that guy going crazy, and he can rub off on the rest of them, then maybe Oregon fans were looking at a dominant defensive line this year in 2025. These are the war machines that you need to know. These are the programs that I look at and I say, yo, something's different. They got some talent that's been laid out brick by brick, just building on top of it. Some of them were engineered through the shadows of the portal, like you see with Texas Tech, for example. But all of them are coming fast, relentless, angry, and with high motor in 2025. If your quarterback is not ready, they're not going to just sack you, bro. They're going to set your whole entire season ablaze and just watch your schedule burn right in front of you because you won't be the same. You won't be the same, especially for teams like Georgia, who the people not really have high expectations or don't know what to talk about. Sometimes you just got to look at what matters the most and what looks like the most sure thing. With Georgia, it looks like their defensive line is sure thing. Their linebackers, sure thing. But we'll talk about linebackers positions on another episode we got for you. This is the world of college football.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. BetUS, get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. You know, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7, but there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Go get that money, twin. We really appreciate you. Shout out to you watching the show, man. We really do mean that, like, college football 1%ers, which you are, because you soaking in this content right now in the month of June. We're still 2 months out, 70 plus days, really 60, before college football kicks off, and we're all happy again. I know it's kind of like a void in the summertime. It doesn't feel the same. I mean, the NBA finals can't fix it. NHL playoffs can't fix it. FIFA can't fix it. You know, women's basketball, WNBA can't fix it. I'm sitting here looking at, like, it's like an itch that you just can't seem to just go away. Like, what is wrong with me? What is going? Am I going through withdrawals? Am I going crazy? Am I turning into the Black Spider-Man right now? Like, my goodness. But that's what college football does to us. We're a part of the 1%ers. Like, you're just like me. You know, we kind of love this game in a way that it's kind of hard to explain. And sometimes with the 1%ers, like, we might not get a lot of praise, a lot of love, a lot of anything, but, you know, we take it as it comes. I'm gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep giving y'all this content, you know, because nothing's stopping with that. It's gonna be an amazing year, you know. But I just want to tell y'all thank you. You know what I mean? Like, really, thank you for watching, sharing, supporting, engaging. You know, keep commenting, keep you know, just soaking in the content, because we try to be educational and cover all of college football. So as I step off of my soapbox and get back into the middle of the show, I set the stage by telling you that, because what I'm about to tell you is not going to be popular. Trust me. What I'm about to say and what is about to utter out of my lips is not going to be popular. In fact, you probably might hear me say what I'm about to say and look at me crazy. You might even click off. Not because I'm being vulgar and not because I'm doing the most, but really just because I have a different lens than really what most other people have. And there's a team that's out there that is getting so much hate. I mean, I saw David Pollock get onto ESPN airwaves and just utter atrocities about this team, saying that they were not going to do much of anything in 2025, year of our Lord. I have heard people talking out the side of their neck about this team that I'm about to speak of and come to their defense a little bit. You know, who is the mystery team that you're talking about? I mean, I gave you a kind of answer earlier if you looked at the, the title of the show. Madison, Wisconsin. I'm about to stand up 100% for you, because this time, Madison, people have been talking crazy. I decided Wisconsin might not even win a game in 2025. Wisconsin, oh man, Luke Fickell gonna get fired. Oh man, Wisconsin hardest schedule in the country. That is a fact, by the way. That's not just me. That's not talking out the side of their neck. That is a fact. We're gonna talk about Wisconsin and the Badgers, and I'm gonna try to solve the mystery of Wisconsin's offense and put it to you in a way that most people aren't. Most people talk to you about the negative. Oh, their schedule is so tough. They're so things, but they don't want to talk to you about what really matters and the things that might be the difference between metrics and success. Let's get into it. I'm not going to waste your time. We got a long show to get to. back in the day, I mean the glory days, when things in life was so good, Wisconsin was a absolute behemoth in college football. Nobody wanted to play these kids that's playing. I'm talking about they have an identity out there in Madison. It's hard. It gets your blood flowing. It makes you jump around like they do out there for real at the end of the third quarter. This team right here was an absolute problem because they had an identity. They were going to smack you in the face and enjoy doing it while they get the dub. They did it unconventional while the most of the country decided to shift and take their talents to a more drop back and pass approach. They said, no, Moon, come here. Come here. We're going to talk about running the gosh darn football. We're going to be a team that leans on our run game and our physicality. You might be like, Moon, why does this matter? Oh, well, it mattered when in the days when Melvin Gordon was here. You remember him? Yeah, Melvin Gordon, absolute monster at Wisconsin. What was the Badgers known for? Running the gosh darn football. The days of James White, Jonathan Taylor, Monty. Come on. They have a lot of legends that walk through Wisconsin Badgers doors, and somehow, some way, that identity of smash mouth football just seemed to evaporate and like almost in thin air. They're like, what is going on with Wisconsin, bro? 2025 was crazy. That guy was mad all the time. But close your eyes and picture this, Wisconsin fans. This is me solving the mystery of your offense. Picture this. Close your eyes. It's late November. The wind off Lake Mendota is just cutting through Camp Randall Stadium like broken glass. I mean, it's howling. You got 80,000 plus fans that are breathless right now because it's third down and 6 in the pocket. You see it collapsing, and you see a quarterback by the name of Billy Edwards Jr. who tucks, escapes, and in one seamless motion fires an absolute laser of a dart to Vinny Anthony II, slicing and dicing across the middle like a blur, like a shadow, and he pulls it in. Boom, touchdown on the board. Wisconsin. What I just gave you is not wistful thinking. This is the future for Wisconsin football in 2025. Whoa, Moon. You just said a lot. I know, but I'm just getting cooked up and started. Let's keep the show rolling. How can we keep it going? The Badgers' long teetered tradition of physicality, toss dives, fullbacks, play action prayers, they're going to have to change that, and their identity is shifting right now. Because what they did in 2024 was blasphemy. If you're a Wisconsin fan, you would admit it 100%. It was blasphemy. They're undergoing a total offensive reformation. It feels like one of those flip this house right now. The house is amazing on the outside. You look at the interior, it's not hitting. It's not hitting. They don't have that old school power that they had mixing it, but they're trying to mix that old school power with modern tempo, some chaos. It's going to be deliberate, though. And at the center of it all is a quarterback by the name of Billy Edwards, who is not supposed to be here, Wisconsin fans. Let me talk to you a little bit about this kid. Because you might be like, oh, Moon, you tweaking. Well, who is Billy Edwards? Why do I need to know about him? Okay, well, I know he might not just fit the Wisconsin mold for you of the traditional guys that y'all like, standard drop back passers that happen to have just crazy height, long necks, and just get the ball out in a quick release motion. No, and that's the point. That's the point. It's not going to look like what you did before. It's going to look like with this kid who posted 261.9 passing yards per game. That was second in the Big Ten last year in 2024. He dropped a 373-yard masterclass on the University of Southern California, and I witnessed it with my own eyes on the CFB Nation tour. Yes, I did. With Billy Edwards led Maryland to the comeback of their ages in 2024 and got a dub. He's going to bring a different type of energy to the Badgers huddle. His film tells a story, and people might have not watched this film and just looked at the stat sheet, but you can't only go off of what you see in the stat sheet because you would miss a fearless manipulator of space. You would miss a quarterback who throws with touch. You would miss a quarterback that has that venom in his arm. He got that surgical confidence that cannot be broken. And against USC, he had 39 completions, 373 yards, anticipation throws, dig routes, in a rhythm, back shoulder throws, lasers, full field symphony of a masterpiece that we got 100%. At Virginia, facing a two-score deficit, he pulled the Terps of Maryland back with 263 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a fourth quarter game winner when it needed it the most. Billy Edwards said, "Inject some ice into my veins." At Indiana, Billy Edwards battled swirling howling wind, rain that was going sideways, up and down, round and round, and making puddles on all over the turf pellets. He threw his career best at the time, 3 passing touchdowns, proving not again. Well, I'm talented, but I also got that dog in me, though. Behind him, the depth chart for Wisconsin, Danny O'Neal, he's coming in from San Diego State. He put up 2,000 passing yards and 12 touchdowns under his belt. Hunter Simmons, before injury happened, he posted back-to-back 300-yard games at Southern Illinois. For the first time in years, Wisconsin's quarterback room and Wisconsin's quarterback room, led by that guy, the alpha, they are finally armed and dangerous. Loaded. I tell you, loaded. At least in Wisconsin standards. Now let's talk about the running back room. Look, Cade Yakimelli, who's pictured on your screen, is a home run hitter, in my opinion. 8.3 yards per carry in 2024 year of our Lord. And they weren't inflated by garbage time, though. He carved up Rutgers, precision, dice, 72 yards. Yeah, on 4 carries. And then he pierced Alabama in the side and hit a momentum shifting 17-yard burst out of nowhere when the game was starting to get out of hand because of Jalen Milroe. He's explosive in space and he got that lethalness on the edge. I don't know if lethalness is a word, but I think I just made it up. He got that lethalness on the edge. I call it the venom. When you see it, he strikes. And then next thing you know, he just gained another 10 to 15 yards. And you're like, dang, how can I tackle Cade Yakimelli? You can't. Must be the money. Darian Dupree is coming in, the sophomore technician. And this kid, he got that blend of elite hands. He got that blend of sudden burst. He had 119 receiving yards as a freshman and 52-yard explosive screen where he took that bad boy, just took off versus Iowa. And the Badgers, and he stretched the field horizontally. He's a chess piece that you want to do it with. And then probably the one that in the running back room that is probably getting the most love out of Wisconsin Badgers, Dylan Jones, the redshirt freshman with the eyes of a veteran who knows how to see the gaps open up right in front of his eyes and he doesn't hesitate. He got that burst of a Sunday back that you want to see. And the numbers show it, 9.3 yards per carry in 2024. He torched Purdue, 65 yards on 7 totes. Come on now. In Jeff Grimes' system, he may emerge as a volume back that Wisconsin needed, and they desperately want to get back to running the gosh darn football being the motto. And for you to just drill it home even more, Wisconsin's backs averaged 5.8 yards per carry on zone runs in 2024, year of our Lord. That was good for third in the Big Ten. That was before Jeff Grimes even touched the playbook. That was with Phil Longo. Now you add in a little bit more pistol sets, a little bit more wide zone, a little bit more pre-snap motion concepts, I think that they can jump into elite territory. Then this is where things get a little spicy for you. Oh, man. A year ago, this was Wisconsin's biggest weakness. In 2025, this might be their most dangerous unit on the field outside of the offensive lineman. Vinny Anthony, the second, is the headline act that you need to know. Baller shot caller, 17.2 yards per catch, led the team in yards with 672, hauled in 9 receptions of over 30 plus yards. He's a deep threat. boundary speed that can take it to the apartments, as we like to say. 137-yard banger performance against Nebraska. How you feel, Nebraska? I think that wasn't just an outlier type of performance. I think that was more of a declaration that, like, my name's Vinny, I'm here, and just because my name is like that, don't mean that you can call this sweet by any calculation. Then you got Joseph Griffin, the junior, who came in from Boston College. 6'4" Joseph Griffin. Reliable red zone mismatch that I'm looking at coming in. 5 collegiate touchdowns under his belt. He got that elite body control that I like to see. And then when you talk about fade routes, posts, being able to use his body, come on, man. Crazy work. I'm looking at Joseph like, yep, another piece I can add into this mix out here. Then you talk about this guy, probably my favorite wide receiver that you need to know on Wisconsin. He is a dynamo. 91 yards after the catch in his breakout game versus Purdue. It got him Big Ten Player of the Week for a freshman. He's quick twitch on the line of scrimmage with his releases. He has a low center of gravity that you would want to see in a wide receiver, so he's not going to get bumped around and all that type of stuff by DBs getting all handsy with him and everything. And then on top of that, the thing that I love the most, he's a linebacker's nightmare, because if he comes in the slot and you got to go against that guy, Tresh, I think that's how you say his name, Trek Kekahuna. This dude is like that, man. He is like that. He's probably my favorite receiver that I watched for Wisconsin. And I said, oh my, the people in the world might tell you that Wisconsin is dead. They might tell you that Wisconsin is dead, but guess what? They got some ballers out there. And it doesn't just stop there. Wisconsin added Jaden Bullard from Ohio State, who posted some top end speed and a 72-yard touchdown on his belt already. Jaden Bullard was a high school sensation. That man is nasty, and he's an Ohio State receiver that decided to come to Wisconsin. How did that happen? They got Tyrell Henry, formerly at Michigan State, who got experience, and he's offering some flexibility that you can toss in there in the mix. CJ Williams, they got Agard, Dijon Allen. They got some explosiveness at that receiver spot. They can get creative with the motion packages that I told you about earlier. And they flashed a knack for separation. That's something that I noticed. Sometimes you got to go back to high school with some of the guys that don't have a lot of snaps in college. You got to go look at that huddle tape, man, and see, like, okay, what does he do good? What does he do great? But this wide receiver room is definitely revamped from what they got last year in 2024. That's 100%. They finished 85th in offensive SP plus ranking last year. And their issues came from red zone inefficiency and first down failures, where they just got behind the sticks and you don't have that marriage. And you look at the fine print and look at beyond just, the headlines. You just look at the fine print. They were ranked bottom 25 nationally in first and 10 success rate. With Billy Edwards Jr. at command, this wide receiver corps that's revamped, and the red zone should look completely different for them for 2025. Now, you might be looking at me like, Moan, I'm still not convinced yet. I still have not had that inner belief click in for me for Wisconsin. And I would tell you, look, it didn't happen for me initially when I just went through the first Billy Edwards, the running back room, wide receivers. But then I remembered, oh man, these kids got some dogs on the offensive line. I tell you, you can talk about Wisconsin football all you want to, but it better start with the beef up front, the big boys. This version of this offensive line in 2025 is hungry, mean, and they're trying to take your lunch money. We don't care if you're Alabama and the Crimson Tide, roll Tide roll. We don't care if you're the Oregon Duckies. We don't care if you're Minnesota and the Golden Gophers with the crazy drip. We're trying to put your body into the pavement. We don't care what type of time you want. It starts with this kid. Number 1, Riley Maulman. His name sounds like he wants to maul you. 6'8" enforcer who had a 76.7 PFF blocking grade for his pass blocking just last year. He got that footwork that you love, that punch when he's staying out on the outside, and he improved every single year, bro. Joe Bruner, who graded 80+% in PFFs and his 4 starts last year, he's gonna be a physical tone setting presence on this country. I mean, on this offensive line. He's country strong. He's exactly how you want him to be. And he got that technical refinement that you want in the offensive lineman. At center, it doesn't stop, bro. Jake Refro, he's gonna bring some experience from a college football playoff team in Cincinnati in that stretch. He was there, part of that. And it's his IQ, his cadence, his gonna be up, is up to par. It's gonna take him a little bit of time to get adjusted or already, but he can be a leader in the anchor of this unit. Then you enter into the mix Nolan Rucci, who is a 6'8" athletic freak. Trey Whittick, who's coming in on the offensive line. He could play anywhere that you want him to. Depth is no longer a luxury; it's a weapon right now, and it's looking at it as like this offensive line just only allowed 13 sacks in 2024. That was the best in the Big Ten. You saw all these elite pass rushes. All of that just went out the window when you play Wisconsin. But that came in a heavy air raid system with Phil Longo. And Jeff Grimes' approach when he's looking at Wisconsin, he's saying, like, man, look, I want to have a balanced attack. I want to clean up pockets more. I want to have deeper progressions. Pause. I want to have less wear and tear on my quarterback and he don't get beat up and just tossed all over the place. Pause. That guy was angry a lot in 2025, 2024. He was. But he's not going to have that anger as much anymore because Phil Longo is gone. Now the coach at Sam Houston State University. Congratulations to Phil Longo. But the grind is not stopped, bro. The grind does not stop. It's a philosophical reset that we see with Wisconsin Badgers football. And Luke Fickell even talked about it himself. He said air raid systems are all predicated on the quarterback. When that guy goes down or he starts to struggle for you, you're dead in the water. I wanted something that could be balanced, physical, flexible. And you insert Jeff Grimes into the mix, who is calculated, a veteran play caller that's bringing in a system that's going to mirror NFL principles that we see. I know Madden Deep Dive trailer just dropping, everybody waiting on college football 25, but like, look, you love when NFL principles could come into the college game, especially with zone heavy rushing style that you see with Wisconsin, heavy play action, which you see with Wisconsin. The emphasis on quarterback insulation, making sure he's protected. Like that man got a buffer like Bubble Buddy. They got that dependence on the offensive line now. And I understand this isn't old school Wisconsin, but it's not the what we saw in 2024 either. That spread football that felt weird. Like it felt weird looking at Wisconsin run a spread air raid offense. Like this isn't you. It's like that. I'm gonna give an example that probably make a lot of sense. I was on Twitter and I was scrolling. There was a girl that was about to start her OnlyFans, and then it was good and refreshing to see the guys be like, "Look, bro, this is not you. Like, no, go cook some waffles. Like, what are you doing? Like, go cut some veggies. Like, go to work. Like, you already got a great job. You're a nurse. You don't need to do this." It felt like Wisconsin was just on the same type of time. You don't need to do this, bro. You don't have to go air raid. Just go back to our roots. And now Luke Fickell finally has some boys at his roots. And it's going to start with some key formation shifts. They're going to have way more 12 personnel shifts in this offense. It's going to create some versatility when we see what the pass blocking, the run looks that they can give you, the pistol and the motion packages. You start getting Dylan Jones and Dupree and Kikahuna all in open space. It's going to add some explosion. Something that they didn't really have in 2025. Then you got the play action shots that's going to come in to Bullard, Anthony, Griffin. It's going to make the offense more fun again, you know? 2025 schedule is a absolute gauntlet, bro. I'm about to go ahead and read it out to you. I'm going to read it out to you because I have it pulled up. Yes, I have it pulled up. I can't show it to you per se, but I'm going to read it to you. August the 28th, Miami of Ohio comes to town. Cam Randall Stadium is going to be kicked off early. Thursday game, it's going to be packed. September 6th, Middle Tennessee State. I'm firmly expecting Wisconsin to be 2-0 at this point before they play Alabama and the Crimson Tide roll. They got to go to Tuscaloosa. That's not going to be pretty sight, but their schedule is the toughest in the nation because they play Maryland, Michigan at the Big House, Iowa at home, Ohio State at home. They got to go to Oregon in Autzen in Eugene. They got a home game versus Washington. They play Indiana and Killer Kirk Sagnetti. They got to play a revamped Illinois team, and they close the season at Minnesota. That is nasty work. I don't think I've seen a schedule this year that's nastier than that. But this is where you get some hope. If you just went off of the schedule alone, you might be like, Nebraska, this team is cooked. Just leave them out to dry. They dead in the water. They ain't gonna do nothing in 2025. But if you're looking for a team that nobody is talking about that can actually make some noise and have a better win projection rate than what K4 might tell you or what CBS Sports or ESPN might tell you, you sitting back thinking about your long night after, everything in your day starts to come down to an end and you start to kick your feet up and you're getting back into your college football Saturdays and you click on a Wisconsin game, it's going to look drastically different than what it did in 2024. You're going to be like, oh, dang, like Wisconsin, that's you? They'll be like, yep. And I didn't get fired on my day off. I didn't at all, bro. They're coming for next this year. And I'm just saying this. The schedule is brutal. You can shake my hand. I don't have no debate with you on that. However, their offense is completely revamped. They have a quarterback that can get busy now, who diced up Big Ten competition, so he already understands what Big Ten competition is like. You don't have to go and teach that kid what it means to be a Wisconsin Badger. You can teach him what it's like to be a Wisconsin Badger. You don't have to teach him how to be a quarterback. You don't have to teach him how to go through Big Ten challenges that you're going to see. You don't got to teach him that. He's going to be straight. Billy Edwards. I'm looking at this offensive line. They're going to be straight. The wide receiver core is probably the best that they've had in a minute. Like, as far as just star power, kids that actually can come in and ball. And it starts with Vinny Anthony. The second. This is the world of college football. And this is why I solved Wisconsin's offensive problem and why I wanted to check people that's out there that's talking out the side of their neck, even though I know that's my show's theme song, that Wisconsin, they're going to be horrible. Oh, I'm going to say, well, if they are and they're horrible with this identity shift back to their roots, then I'm just going to say that Wisconsin is cooked. But they sport the SB plus number 2 defense in the nation. So I have some high hopes. I made this about Wisconsin's offense because nobody can tell me anything about their defense because it's loaded. It's loaded in the Big Ten. You don't have any questions about Wisconsin's defense. You have questions about the offense. So let's solve that. And you can solve it with Billy Edwards Jr. You can solve it with Luke Fickell finally saying, man, get Phil Longo out of here. We got to go back to win because my job is on the line. There's probably not a single coach in college football that has a job on the line like Luke Fickell. So if you think that man is going to walk out the door with less than 3 wins on the season, oh my! I know the schedule was tough, but they're getting back to the roots out there in Wisconsin. And if you're a Wisconsin fan, brighter days are ahead. Brighter days are ahead. I know there's high projections for Iowa. High projections, even though some people think they're gonna go 6-6. I know there's high projections for Illinois. I gave you a lot. Like, my last team breakdown was USC. I told you why USC could do amazing in 2025. It was set. If you're no longer in the days where the old Big Ten, where it was split down the middle, and you could just cupcake it all the way to the end, find yourself in Big Ten championship after Big Ten championship, playing against Iowa and you're interchanging it out. No, this is not the same Big Ten anymore. There's no more divisions. You're going to have to get it out of the mud. There's no more ducking and trying to hide. Oh, my God, Debo's coming. Oh, yeah, that's Oregon, by the way. That's Ohio State, too. Yeah, you can't just hide now. Tuck your tail, running around scared. Like courage the cowardly dog. No, this is not that Wisconsin. We're here to jump around in 2025. We're here to party out in 2025. And I'm here to tell you something crazy that most people won't. Wisconsin actually has a chance. Why? Because their offense, our offensive identity is drastically different. The metrics will sit here and tell you that they're not favored in any of their games. Maybe Minnesota. Even then, that's still close. Maybe Indiana. No, not for Indiana. They're probably the only two games that they're favored on their schedule that I'm looking at right now is probably Middle Tennessee State, Miami of Ohio, and maybe Maryland. For the rest of their schedule, it's just like pick them. Not gonna happen. But I'm telling you, man, don't sleep on the Badgers. Do not sleep. The media will try to convince you to sleep on the Badgers. They will lull you to sleep like a lullaby, trying to tell you, no, Moon, don't believe in it. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. I understand Wisconsin treats us amazing at CFB Nation. Wisconsin is an amazing friend of the network. We can't wait to see them on the CFB Nation tour this year in 2025. But we're not about to be talking out the side of our neck just because of and not pay attention to the writing on the wall. I'm gonna be there to tell you beforehand. Luke Fickle, if he goes down in his last year, he gets fired. He gonna go down doing it the right way. He gonna go down with an offense that feels Wisconsin. He's gonna go down popping his collar. He gonna go down with a fight. And hey, we know we got the toughest schedule. Now let's go and prove it. Let's go ahead and prove it. It reminds me of Florida last year. Everybody had horrible projection. Oh, the Gators are cooked. The Gators are cooked. Oh man. I get it. It's easy to fall into that trap, but when you start to look deeper than the fine print, you start to look at the writing on the wall, everything starts to make a lot of sense. That the Wisconsin Badgers maybe just solved their offense. We already know the defense is good, but it's the offense. This is a world of CFB.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. Bet US. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. You know, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Go get that money, twin. We greatly appreciate you watching the World of College Football, hosted by me, Moon, credential media member of DCFB Nation. It's a lot of great things happening with the brand overall. So we just want to thank you for watching wherever you are on this late night edition of World of CFB. We're getting closer and closer to hitting some of our goals for the show as far as exposure. But I want to finish the show strong. You know, we gotta keep grinding, gotta keep putting in the work. Put the work in now, and we cover the teams that we need to cover. By the time that we get to the season, not only are we all going to be more educated, not only are we all going to be sitting there saying to ourselves, we know way more, we're way more comfortable, but it's just going to be way more fun because we know we put in the work. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we put in the work, just studying these teams, going into the breakdowns, not getting pulled by all the media hype that we see all the time, and trusting that, you know, like on World of CFB, man, my man Moon going to talk to me about whoever, anywhere I need to know, and we're going to give it to you 100%. Let's close the show off with a bang. We'll talk to you about the 2-year rule. Coach McGee, shake my hand, Coach. Coach McGee is probably one of my favorite coaches in college football. Coach of Georgia State and the Panthers, who are getting just pummeled right now in projections. I think K4 put out a projection today and said, I think they're They're supposed to earn maybe 2.8 conference wins for Georgia State. And I said, whoa. Oh, it's somebody who has been to Georgia State a countless amount of times, who loves Georgia State through and through. I had a hard time swallowing that pill, man. That was tough. But let's just keep it straight. I'm gonna talk to you about the Sun Belt Conference and why there's a 2-year rule on everything that's in the Sun Belt, and no team and there's no king in this conference. History doesn't repeat; it really just resets. And I'm gonna break it down to you and close the show with a bang and a 10-minute breakdown of the Sun Belt Conference, so you can know everything you need to know. There's no dynasties for real here because transfer portal guts teams and it makes teams go wire to wire in the standings. And instead, you get like a balance of power that continues to shift and it ricochets from end to end like a pinball machine. Troy, the University of Troy, the Trojans, they lifted a trophy up in 2022 and 2023. Then they stumbled last year to 4 wins. Louisiana went from 34-5 to 20 from 2019 to 2021. Louisiana had 34 wins to 5 losses and then won just 12 conference games over the last 2 years that followed. App State, long viewed as modern group of fives, chaos, havoc wreakers, because they just continue to upset people and just shock the world, essentially. The App State Mountaineers shocked the world, but they failed to finish with a winning record in 2024. This is not coincidence. This is the Sun Belt's law of gravity. It's like an unofficial law. You win big and you win the conference, and then you got to brace for a fall because you're coming back to reality. Oh, not trying to get copyrighted. But in a league where coaches are poached from team to team, rosters are gutted by the transfer portal every single year, year in and year out, the continuity feels like an endangered species. And you really look at these rosters and you see championship, continuity that we want to see is hard to come by, especially in the recent years. The 2025 season is going to offer a case test, a test case study into defending champions that fall off. Look at it. Marshall, champion. They return just 3 starters and enter the fall with the lowest returning production in 2025. That is nasty work. Charles Huff took the entire Marshall team and took them boys to Southern Miss and said, "Look, I know it's not pretty. I know this, bro. But trust me. Trust my vision. We're gonna build a winner here at Southern Miss." And who was the team that got penalized by this? Marshall. Marshall has nobody. Let's just talk to you about the peaks and the valleys right now. In this conference is a 2-year rule that can be traced back more than a decade. And one of the most glaring cases that I thought about is examples like this. App State won or shared 4 straight Sun Belt titles from 2016 to 2019. But since that time, they haven't won the league or finished above 3rd in their division. That is nasty work. Louisiana dominated for a good amount of time under Billy Napier, winning double-digit games in 3 straight seasons. When Billy Napier left for Florida, the Raging Cajuns tumbled out of the top 50 at SB Plus, and they lost 5 Sunbelt games across the next 2 years in conference play. That's nasty work. Troy, they captured lightning in a bottle under John Summerall in 2022 and 2023. They went 23-4 with a top 30 defense in each of those seasons in 2023 and 2022. But once John Summerall left and went to Tulane, Troy fell to 4-8 under their first coach, Gerard Parker, in 2024. Nasty work. Now comes Marshall, who finished 10-3 last fall and dominated in stretches. We went to Marshall University on a CFB Nation tour to watch Sunbelt Conference play in full action. You can ask this. It was an amazing atmosphere to see Marshall versus Georgia State. You already know who I wanted to win. But look, the facts of the matter and straight ball talk, the Herd of Marshall won their final 5 games by an average margin of 16 points, and they claimed the Sun Belt crown. They claimed it, and everybody said, "Oh wow, what's going on with Charles Huff?" Oh wait, breaking news: Charles Huff is now the head coach at Southern Miss. What? Charles Huff is taking the entire team. What? They also won't be showing up to the Independence Bowl. What? It's crazy. They lost more than 50 players to the transfer portal. Marshall did. 21 followed Charles Huff to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And that prompted Marshall to withdraw from the bowl game. Now, new coach Tony Gibson has a lot of experience, but just 27% of returning production is coming back. So you better believe that, Marshall fans, you're going to have a tough climb in 2024. It's going to be tough for Marshall. Now, I believe in Del Rio Wilson. Now, you know what I mean? But, man, one Marshall staffer said, "I don't know how you go from champions to ghost town in 45 days, but here we are." Nasty work. See, when we talk about the coaching carousel and the price of winning, unlike the SEC or the Big Ten, who seems like they are in an ultimate fight right now behind the scenes, the Sun Belt can't outspend their problems and make their problems go away. Winning seasons are often invites for potential suitors that come in and say, "Oh, John Summerall, you popped off at your stop. Oh, why don't you come be the head coach at Tulane University? Major step up. Billy Napier, you can't pop in at Louisiana for 3 straight seasons. Oh man, why don't you come out here to the University of Florida? Current situation that we're in right now. We just talked about it earlier in the show. GJ Kinney, you out here cooking right now with hot gas at Texas State? Oh, let's just offer you a Power 4 job. And what does that do? Create even more problems for the Sun Belt conferences. Assistants are poached all the time. And in 2025, it's not just the coaches who leave. 10 years ago, a championship might get your coach hired away. Now, it gets your quarterback one, your wide receiver one, your nickel back, your offensive coordinator, your strength coach, your team chaplain, basically everybody. You can just bet any type of success that you get, somebody from the Sun Belt is going to say, "Don't start shining too quickly. That's when all your talents is just going to get gutted." You only got 3 wishes. You better use them wisely. But that's the reality of what we're going to see in 2025. Yet again, in addition to Marshall's exodus, we had other movement in the Sun Belt Conference that just went crazy. South Alabama lost Gio Lopez to North Carolina. We saw Fluff Bothwell go to Mississippi State. We had top defensive starters go to Power 5 schools. Troy watched his top 3 playmakers leave and bolt to the SEC and the Big Ten. They said, "Bye, hasta luego." Bye, have a wonderful time. Texas State, fresh off of an 8-5 season, saw its entire skill group leave. Ishmael Mahdi, gone. Mac Leftwich, gone. He departed for a Power 4 job. And as a result, this is where it lies in the conference of sun and fun. Everybody is forced to rebuild faster than they ever imagined. But if you can get the job done here, oh man, you better believe there's going to be some love. Better believe it. Look, the Sun Belt champions since 2018 reveals a clear trend that stuck out to me when doing the research. Every single team that won the league fell below 500 in Sun Belt conference play within 2 years. Every single team. It does not fail. History does not lie, but when the Sun Belt champions start to slide, they start sliding fast like summer times in a water slide. App State, the league's original standard bearer, after winning the conference in 2018, the Mountaineers posted a solid 6-2 Sun Belt record in 2020. But in 2021, they dipped to 4-4 in conference play, and that's not dominant like they are. They know that they are. Like we saw in the late 2010s, they had a brief resurgence for real 2022, and they had to deal with their fair share of just headaches last year with the hurricane. My heart goes out to App State's community. but they're not the only example. Coastal Carolina rose like a rocket during the pandemic shortened season of 2020, going undefeated in the regular season. Everybody just crowned them. 2 years later, they're still holding steady at 6-2. But by 2023, look, the bottom dropped out. They went 3-5 in conference and had an identity crisis after Jamie Chadwell's departure to Liberty. Then there's Louisiana. You talked about it already with Billy Napier. Troy did the same thing with John Summerall. Marshall, same thing. So this year's projections that we're starting to get from all of these conferences, whether it's K Ford, whether it's SP Plus, ESPN, all these other names, there's 9 different teams that hold at least 5% chance of winning the conference. 9 teams. James Madison is probably everybody's favorite. That's what you're going to see. If you talk about a team that can avoid the 2-year drop off, it could be James Madison. The Dukes return an experienced quarterback in Alonzo Barnett III. They got a top tier rushing attack with George Pettaway and the boys. The coaching staff is starting to become proven, and they are developing FCS transfers into their versions of gold mines, perfect for Dukes football. JMU faces a backloaded schedule in Sunbelt Conference play, and they can build some momentum because they got matchups against key contributors in this conference: Texas State, Coastal Carolina, and even Wazoo. So they could be vulnerable, but it's not. Nobody can escape the rule, man. Nobody can escape the rule. No, I'm gonna say it again. No team since 2018, every team that won the league fell below 500 in Sunbelt Conference play within the span of 2 years. I'm praying for the mighty heavens that Marshall can just keep it together, bro. Because Charles Tuff did them boys dirty in terms of leaving them to say, hey, we're going to move. He could argue they did me dirty. They didn't want to give me the bag. That's why I left. I get it. Title odds for JMU right now, I think, are 20.8% that the JMU Dukes are going to win the conference of Sun and Fun. And if this trend that I just told you about holds, and my theory holds, Marshall is going to fade off into the sunset in 2025. I think bottom of the conference. And this is not because I don't love the university. This is just because it's always a drop off in the Sun Belt. Troy and South Alabama, they're getting higher projections, but they're still going to be hovering. What do they do without Fluff Bothwell? What do you do without Gio Lopez? Georgia Southern has high projections coming into this season, but don't start getting too comfortable, Georgia Southern and Clay Helton, because you do too good, somebody is going to try to steal Clay Helton away from you, and now you're going to have to start all over again. Oh, Georgia State, by the way. Dale McGee. I know you probably, if you listen to this to come across this, coach, and we're talking about the Sun Belt, overachieve and go through the roof this year. Do it again, and then by the time 2025, 2026 ends, we're going to be looking at you like, oh, man, you're going to be out of there. You're going to get another job. It's going to be hard not to leave. This league could be once again decided by December bedlam. Just chaos and controversy coming in. And the Sun Belt doesn't believe in reigns of supremacy, even though JMU is called the Dukes. It believes in revolutions, and this revolution will be televised. This revolution will tell you in bold red letters at the top of your screen that every team since 2018 that won the Sun Belt fell below 500 in conference play within 2 years. Hey, this is the world of college football, and in a league obsessed with the now, the past keeps whispering the same message over and over again. Nobody stays on the top for too long, my boy. Better get comfortable and enjoy all the amenities while you at the top, because it could come crashing down. In a league with no clear Goliath, like we might see with the Mountain West Conference with Boise State, it takes a great November of the ages to get the job done. But once you get the job done, you still got to deal with one harsh reality. that there's still a 2-year rule in this wonderful and wacky Sun Belt Conference. I'm on, and this is my 2-year rule, and why there's no king in the Sun Belt Conference, whether it's for the transfer portal pulling you, whether it's coaches getting sniped away, whether it's just volatility all across the conference. There's going to be something that makes your team drop off. Can you be prepared to weather the storm? This is the world of CFB.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. Bet US. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. You know, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Go get that money, twin. I'm Moon, credential media member of CFB Nation, one piece of this expansive puzzle of the CFB Nation umbrella. I want to give a special shout out to my brothers behind the scenes. Yo, y'all been going crazy, bro. Whether it's Nino and everything that he does, D-Now and everything that he does, boom, we love you so much. Mikey, director Mikey, whether it's Maul, Weeze, and the governor of college football. It's a lot to love, man. So we appreciate you greatly. We really do. And to you, the watcher, the listener, if you're listening to this through audio, we really appreciate you listening. For those that's watching, whether it's on YouTube or Twitter, we greatly appreciate you. Now it's time for So Long. But we'll sing just one more song. Hey, yeah, I don't got my guy Blue right now, but I'm your boy Moon. This is World of CFB, and on today's episode, we got a chance to talk about a lot in the college football world, in the world of CFB, whether it's elite freshmen that's coming to just take over the game, whether it's, just all of the madness that we have in the Sun Belt Conference where there's no single team that is going to just reign supreme, whether it is all the madness that's going on with Pac-12 expansion talks from Texas State leaving, who replaces them, who leaves out of the Conference USA. We talked about alignment, realignment. We talked about a lot on this episode. Well, all I ask you is, if you enjoy the content, I don't even want you to do anything besides share it with somebody so that they can turn into a college football fan and be a part of the 1%. Because we really appreciate you tuning into the season before it's June right now. You know what I mean? It's June, and we're still talking cash money ball talk. By the time we get to August, it's going to be fun time, I appreciate you greatly. Until the next episode, which will be tomorrow, stay safe, stay wavy, and remember that in this wild and wacky world of college football, sometimes it's about the survival of the fittest. How do you step in the year 2025 will all be about one thing. Can you survive, outwit, and outlast? And we're not talking about survivor. Even though you can have survivor's remorse because you made it through all of the madness and the wackiness that college football provided to you, you still got to come in and, like Friday said, you got to live to fight another day. So whether your team is Western Kentucky and Big Red is your mascot, if your mascot is Buzz and you're a Georgia Tech fan, whether you are a fan of SES football and HBCUs and all the love that they willingly deserve, whether you're a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide Roll, or the Oregon Ducks, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, or any other one of the 136 FBS teams, plenty more in FCS, Division 2, Division 3. We're trying to make sure that you cover it here on the World of CFB. And until next time, my friend, until I see you again, remember, there's always something shifting in this wonderful world of college football.